Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the Arta region organizes the 40th edition of the pedestrian hike. The closing of the National Social Action Week in the Obok regions. For the international scene, EU orders inspection of Belgian factory. Welcome to our newsroom. This morning, the Artas region organized the 14th edition of the International Walk Trail, 14 sessions of the Arta Peace Walk, which, despite the participations of the numerous followers of the Peace March organized in Arta city, symbol of peace, which had organized in 2000 the Peace Conference of Somalia, placed under the aegis of the State Secretariat for Youth and Sports and organized by the Prefecture of Arta in partnership with Mr. Ali Liakwa, initiator of the march. In addition to the Prefect of the Artas region, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, his staff, the President of the Council, and the elected member of the National Parliament and of Artas region, as well as officials who came to the meeting, including the Minister of Health. Early in the morning, the Peace March was launched in a sustained atmosphere in the presence of artists of display, including Mr. Abezid Habli of Blood Nomad, surrounded by Djiboutian artists. The walkers followed the path marked out for the Walk of Peace in the best conditions. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the participants have precautions to protect themselves and adopt barrier gestures for mask, social distancing, and known for its mild and pleasant climate, the region of Arta has kept its promise by organizing the 40th edition of the International Arta Hiking Trail. In a short speech, the Prefect of Artas region, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, welcomed all participants in the Peace March of Arta, which is a must-have event for all lovers organized by the city of Arta, a city of peace. He stressed that the 14th edition was held in a sincere atmosphere, and finally the Prefect congratulated all the participants and thanked the partners. For his part, the Minister of Health, Mohammed Warsama Diriye, thanked the Artas region and the organizers for having maintained the Peace March with a strong participation despite the pandemic. He added that the march is a sport adapted to preserve. For the participant, the Minister did not fail to congratulate him. The Minister of Health, Mohammed Warsama Diriye, yesterday convened a meeting with the Scientific Monitoring Committee of COVID-19 within the framework of an exchanges on the periodic re-evaluations of the response strategy, and particularly in the light of the variations of the SARS-CoV virus 2 against the pandemic in our country. The meeting was attended by the Acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Maike Mohammed Musa, the Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister, Mr. Ali Silla Abdallah, the Council of President of the Republic in the file of Health, Dr. Abdullahi Muhammad Abdi. In his opening remarks, the minister praised the efforts and contributions of the member of scientific committee, whose relevance and quality of recommendations were decisive both in the prevention and therapeutic management and the pandemic and implementations of the response in Djibouti. The Energy Minister is in charge of Natural Resources, Yunus Ali Gedi, received the Vice President of the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, received the Vice President of Active Turkish Conglomerate. These business leaders are indeed making this visit to explore cooperation and business opportunity in the energy sectors in Djibouti. The Minister in charge of decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Arami, yesterday, Thursday, 29 January, in the courtyard of his department, presided over a ceremony to hand over vehicles intended for his department and the regional councils. The event took place in the presence of the ambassador of the European Union, Aidan O'Hara, and his French colleague Arnaud Guillois, the head of the European Union's cooperation program, Bernard François, the head of the ADIL program, Thibault Gobri, and two of the budget ministers' close collaborators, namely the Councillor Abdel Fattah Moussa Arre and Saïd Ismail, president of the regional councils, respectively Mohamed Hamad Ismail of Obok and Abdurrahman Yunus Arre from Dikhil and Omar Ahmed Asowe from Ali Sabih and Ilmi Bouh Goudade from Arta, their Secretary General, as well as officials and executive of the Ministry in charge of decentralization. This delivery of the vehicles is part of this decentralization and local initiative support program financed by the European Union and implemented by the Expertise France Executing Agency. The vehicles delivered to the region will be used by the Secretary General. The ambassador of France and the European Union replied to the ministers that they were closely following her efforts, for which they congratulate her. They assure him of their support in the accomplishment of his missions. For his part, the Secretary General of the Secretary of State for Decentralization, Mohamed Isse Faraj, for his part, held a meeting with the President of the region and their secretaries in the ceremony handed over of the key of the vehicles. On this occasion, he especially asked this interlocutor to make better use of the vehicles granted to them. The chairman of the Port and Free Trade Zone Authority, Abubakar Omar Hadi, had a lunch meeting yesterday at the Djibouti International Free Trade Zone with the delegations of Pakistani senators led by Senator Muhammad Ali Khan Saif. During the lunch, several points of common interest were discussed, including Djibouti's potential as a gateway and hub for Pakistani businessmen wishing to expand their business in Africa, and the advantages of free trade zones. Afterwards, the member of the delegation had the opportunity to visit the various port sites, and they were welcomed by the various officials. The visit of the Pakistani senator to Djibouti is part of the strengthening of existing friendly ties between the two sister countries and follows the visit of the Speaker of the National Assembly of Djibouti to Pakistan on 30 December 2020. The Embassy of India in Djibouti celebrated last Monday the 72nd anniversary of the Republic Day, devoted to the adoptions of the constitutions which solemnly declared India as a republic. A flag-raising ceremony was held at the Embassy of India in Djibouti. On this occasion, several Indian nationals living in Djibouti, as well as anonymous persons participate in the event. The 72th anniversary was an opportunity for Indian residents in Djibouti to meet each other. The Indian diplomat Ashok Kumar hammered home to greet the name of the Mahatma Gandhi, founding fathers of India nation, for his principles which must continue to guide us, citing democracy, justice, fraternity, equality. He also recalled that his country
constitution. For all of us, then, this is the day to also pause and ponder over the core values that the Constitution propounds. These values, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity, outlined in the preamble of our Constitution, are sacred to all of us. This abiding adherence is meant not only for those who are mandated to govern, but for the people at large. It is not without reason that the wise men and women who framed the Constitution chose to place these terms at the very beginning of the Constitution to build the foundation on which the edifice of our democracy rests.
As part of the activity carried out in the framework of the 20th anniversary festivity, a conference on the respiratory disease was held this morning. The event brought together on the spot, in addition to the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Dr. Ali Barre Matan, Professor of Medical Sciences, doctoral students, administrative staff, students, and teacher researchers. The opening was made by the illustrious persons of the event, in this case of pediatricians, also president of the COVID Vaccinations Commission, who gave us a brief introduction on the virological aspects of COVID-19. He stressed that respiratory diseases are a very frequent pathology in our country. He welcomed the efforts of the Djiboutian government and especially the Ministry of Health in their fight against the corona disease. In this sense, the president focused on the recent COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID appeared in the world, more precisely in China, last December, and 4 months after this disease appeared in Djibouti. He recalled that a multidisciplinary commission has been set up to prepare the country to fight this disease. Within the framework of the 20 years anniversary celebration, the University of Djibouti is still and again in its agency to put the spotlight on the activities carried out in this direction is to highlight all the progress made, achievement and prospect achieved so far. Yesterday, today at the Faculty of Engineering, the Dean of the Faculty with the doctoral students who are the pride of our countries proceeded to organize a conference and debate on researches. The team chosen was what researches for the university. In addition, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, doctoral students, Dean of the other faculty, students and teachers, researchers took part in this day to honor the event with their presence and also to give the initiative its noblest meaning that they had its particularity. It's important due to their team chosen and the fruitful exchanges and debate that took place. After the ceremony, the delegation visited different sites that the ADDS project is implementing for the young peoples and White City, also in the locality of, in order to visit the prefectures to promote ADDS and impacts to supply water villages, the inhabitants of this locality. Strong delegation is led by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity and the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization, Ifra Ali Ahmed and Mohamed Isa Faraj, as well as senior officials of ADDS, began the day by visiting young people who have benefited from funds within the framework of a Forges project to set up income-generating activity in the town of Obok. The delegation of senior executive was then received by the prefect and the president of the regional council, with whom they proceeded to launch the paving of an artery in this historic district of Obok, the distributions of sewing machines to women previously trained by their associations of Ubuki in the framework of Community Development Fund, and internal solar lamps also in the framework of the FDC to young people of Fantehero, a large meeting with the community and representative of the refugee was then organized, where the prefect of Obok, Abdul Malik Mohamed, and the president of regional council, the representative of IDDS, UNHCR, ONAS, the secretary general of the Department of Social Affairs, Solidarity and Decentralization took the floor. A large meeting with the community and representative of the refugee was then organized, where the prefect of Obok and the president of the regional council, the representative of the ADDS, UNHCR, the secretary general and Department of Social Affairs, Decentralization took the floor. The latter was able to appreciate the many projects carried out in this region by the Ministry of Social Affairs Solidarity through its agency, and exhibitions of painting relating to the various programs carried out by also from the self-group representative beneficiaries associations of the project carried out with the support of ADDS, and to express their testimonies and share their grievance. It was with great sadness that we learned the death of Muhammad Hassan Abdullahi, the Secretary General of the government, a great clerk and faithful servant of the state. He was a very high-ranking, exemplary civil servant, a man committed to the services of the nation and to the Republican principles on behalf of the entire staff and on the Djibouti embassy in France, and on my own behalf, we wish to extend our deepest condolence to his wife and children and to his entire family. We also wish to extend our sincere condolence to the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, the European Commission has kept up the pressure since the announcement of the delay in the delivery of the AstraZeneca vaccines. It has ordered an inspection of a factory in Belgium where the serum is produced. The Novacy plant in Senef in the south of Belgium. It is at the head of a tug of war between two giants of European Union and AstraZeneca, which has announced the delays in deliveries of its COVID-19 vaccines. The laboratory justified this bad news by a drop in yield at its subcontractor, which produces part of the vaccines in Belgium, but the European Union is not convinced and has called for an inspection of the site by the Belgian health police. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.